The film was a bit of a risky choice because it's a story that spans 3 decades. If we go in strict chronological order, it makes it a huge project. And, life is obviously different in some parts from the film. When looking back at these different moments, it really does give you a sense of how short life actually is. If you move out, if you transcend your own position, that very small space on the whole length of time, it allows you to go back through a series of fragments and re-inject some experiences and emotions in a much more effective way. The whole production cycle was very long, from screenplay, shooting, and, well, actually, to the initial preparations of the screenplay up to post-production, it took a total of 4 years to get the film made. I felt that it was a very difficult part, and I didn't have too much to rely on in terms of my own experience, but I learned a lot from Wang Jingchun, because a lot of what I do is playing a son who doesn't get on with his father at all. If we talk about rebels in society, well, I think everyone has the experience of rebellion. It's quite commonplace. But you have to remember that the people who love you most are your own mother and father. So you have to make clear choices in the end about what you do and you don't do. Let me share a story. A couple of days ago when I arrived in Berlin, I was there at the airport and I saw the name of the film in English, So Long, My Son. I was suddenly close to tears because I'd worked for 2 years nearly on the film. But this beauty and this love, I was holding it within myself. And then I finally saw the name of the film on that poster, and I sent a text message to the director straight away. I was really very, very moved. And I hope that if you are as moved as I am, that you will be able to put your weight behind it too. And I hope you very much enjoy it. We have a very complex relationship with the whole question of change in China. Now, you talk about changing eras. Well, our generation and our parents were really at the forefront of that change, and they have experienced both the old society and the new society. Now, that gave me the opportunity as a director to try and tell you almost everything that Chinese people have experienced, and I tried to find as much as possible in there. There are lots of people who are happy to go back to the Chairman Mao era. That's fine, okay, but society does need to develop. Now, lots of new problems have occurred during that. The rich-poor divide, in particular in China, or the current problem with corruption. These are all things that you have to deal with during the process of development. Now, we also need film to tell us the story of the past in order to avoid making mistakes in the future. Well, everything that I wanted to say is in the film, and the gaps that are left are purely for your imagination. As I said earlier on, we can't possibly get all 30 years into these 3 hours. Actually, I wanted to just do it within 2 hours. That was impossible. I had to take 3 hours. So in that process, I have to just select fragments and excerpts to show you as much as possible about what they've gone through and to give the audience the sense of having experienced a full story, which just happens to cover 3 decades. So you're free to imagine what else has happened, in particular with the overall social context during those gaps. We have these huge social changes, but I have to remain, as a director, a level-headed observer of these in order to enable myself to give people food for thought, show them what's happened to people through these enormous social changes. The more change you have in a society, the more careful and meticulous you have to be in documenting it. If you look at people's relationship with politics in the world today, I mean, basically they're inseparable. For people in China, when they're pretty willing to just keep getting on with their own lives and stay away from politics, but whether in China or elsewhere, you do end up getting affected by politics. Now, the individual is rather weak. If you ask every individual to go and search for the motives and the reasons behind what has happened, it's impossible. Somebody like Wang Jingchun may simply feel that that's fate. That's what a lot of people in China say. It's fate. They don't look too much at the causes. Zhang Yimou's first film came to Berlin, in fact, and we've been influenced by his cinematic oeuvre. He opened our eyes and he took us onto this path. So I was really looking forward to bringing my film to the Berlinale together with Zhang Yimou's film. Now, I can't speculate further on what's actually happened, but I'm very sorry about it. And also that other film, directed by a very young director. It's a very important moment for somebody to be able to bring a film to the Berlinale, and I'm very sorry for him that he's been unable to come this time round. Now, we have always been conscious of the need to respect all of the rules and parts of the system, but we need to keep working with that. Now, I don't think that my film will encounter any particular difficulties because we have followed all the procedures in this case. Thank you.